Hey everyone, welcome to the GHPC developer stream for the month of September 2023. We are happy to be here, and by we I mean myself and Kavi.
Hey, hey.
How's it going? As usual, if anybody can't hear or there's any issues, let us know. Otherwise, we will jump right into it.
Where are your glasses, man?
Uh, Harry stepped on them, so I have to just squint really hard. No, I'm wearing contacts today.
It's so different. I almost always see you in glasses, and this is just like, whoa.
Yeah, no, this is me. I actually didn't have contact lenses for a while. I was like, oh, I should order more of those, for years. So, anyway. We are going to start up a test build. We have a new update coming out soon. I believe 2 days. Is that right? The 5th?
Yes, indeed.
Yep. So, you heard it here. September 5 is the update date, and I am playing the September 5 update of the game. Let me just pull it up here, or a preliminary build of it, rather. We've got some new stuff. So, first of all, there's a quality of life feature. It will show you which missions you have not played, and which missions you have won. Let me turn my music down here. This is, it's all the same missions, except we have, I think, one new regular mission and a bunch of training missions, but I'll get to that. Now it actually shows, so for example, Steel Wedge, I've won from the Pact side since this change, and I have not won it from NATO yet, so there's a half-filled indicator. I won Silver Dart, I haven't played this one yet. Let's find one that I lost. Oh look, I didn't lose anything, no. I'm sure there's something in here. Anyway, so this will help keep track of what you're doing. But, perhaps more importantly, there is a series of training missions now in the Grafenwehr range. So you can play each one and get practice with using the tanks. We have a little explanation of how to use each fire control system in the briefing, and of course you can pull the briefing during the mission so you can get more guidance. So if you're wondering how the hell do I use the M60A1, you just run this mission.
Now, I don't need a tutorial mission
Yeah,
for these
yeah.
vehicles, but
No,
I know
of
that
course.
that's a big help for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't need to be told how to do, but just as a quiz, like just to make sure you know, can you tell me like how do I do it? Anyway.
Yeah, why don't we go through the mission, we'll find out together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not leave everyone in suspense.
Right, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
He definitely knows, though. He already knows.
Really want to thank you for the mission tracker. Not being a native speaker made following mission progression quite hard. You're welcome. It's been a requested feature for quite some time, and we had some available cycles from one of our contractors, and they knocked it out of the park.
So during the mission, you can pull up the briefing. The key for that is in the control menu, F1. If you change it, it'll show up there. All the briefings have the default keybinds listed. I think there's probably a way to make it show the real one, but we don't have that right now. And then you can just read the full guide at your leisure. So this should help a lot with learning each system.
Is this going to be the final form of tutorials? Probably not.
No.
But this way at least gives you guys a chance to familiarize yourself with each vehicle before having to go through a mission and, like Josh, figure out what he's got to do on the fly.
The coincidence rangefinder is pretty hard to use as it gets to about 2 kilometers.
There will be more detailed tutorials in the future.
Yeah, we're thinking maybe video tutorials in the game. We'll see. We've got all kinds of plans for that.
When will we get machine gun reloading sounds? They're very quiet. You have to really listen.
Yeah. We'll get all kinds of sounds as we get time to make them. We have Jack from Epic Thunder. Some of you might know his work. He's currently our sound guy, so he's working away at all kinds of stuff right now.
What's with the blurriness in the sight, Josh? Could you explain
Well,
what that is?
this tank has a coincidence rangefinder, and while I restock, I'll take a look at it here. There are two viewports on the tank. One of them is right here, and one of them is right here. And they show a combined view through that optic, and the images from each side are overlaid. They're ghosted. So you will see a double image if they're not focused at that distance. If you see the target as a single image, you know that they're both pointing at the target directly, and then the tank's ballistic computer can tell from the angle, okay, this is how far that is. It's like there's some cameras that have this. Either you slide the images top and bottom till they match, or there's a ghost. Just two different kinds of coincidence rangefinder. And the interesting thing about this is the M60A1. It has this coincidence rangefinder still, no laser. In the M60A3, they added a laser rangefinder, but it was a retrofit job, just kind of a stopgap hodgepodge. So they put the laser rangefinder in this bubble and added a cover for it, and then they just gutted this one and left it there. And then the T64 has a different kind of coincidence rangefinder, where the top and bottom halves of the view are routed to each optic of the rangefinder. So you'll slide it left and right by changing the range, and when the target matches, it's not split in two, you know you're at the correct distance. We have that one as well, but since the T64 is not out yet, you can't see it in the game yet, but it will be there. I think the little details of how you use these ranging systems are actually part of what makes these tanks cool, so I'm glad that we don't have homogenized fire control, that we actually show each one differently. Because then you get to experience how the technology improved. We get from here to, the point-and-click adventure with the Abrams. It's a nice journey.
Will there be any HD packs of textures or models at release? So for people with good machines, they could, have upgraded visuals.
I severely doubt it.
Yeah. The answer to that is no, because we've set a lot of our models and textures to a standard that is better to reproduce on multiple systems. And we wouldn't be pushing that budget right now while we're still developing the game.
Plus, it takes time to make HD texture packs, and our art team is usually using time for new content instead, so I don't think we would consider that a priority.
Is there any chance this has just been asked several times, and we're going to address it every time. Is there any chance that X vehicle will be added to the game?
I don't know. If it was a main player in the central Germany region in about 1985, fully deployed and in use, then we would probably consider it. We may already be building it. We won't confirm. We won't list ahead of time, except for very few vehicles, which you can find on some spreadsheet that's kicking around somewhere. And then if it wasn't in Fulda, or if it was not used by the US or Germany or USSR, or if it was a prototype or something like that, then it's not going in this theater.
Has the optimization update been rolled out yet? I remember you mentioning it on last stream.
Optimization is an ongoing thing. We have actually done some in this build, the one that I'm running right now. This has fixed some issues that were visible in the last build of the game. So if you're running the 0810 update, is the current one, you'll notice a bunch of problems when the weather is more misty. When there's rain or fog, you'll notice a frame drop. we fixed that. That's going to be in this build right now. That's actually solved. There's some other stuff that we're improving slowly over time. There's a larger optimization push that's in progress. I spent a big chunk of my dev time this cycle just doing optimization work. It's not done yet though. And optimization isn't going to be like a one-time fix where everything's cured. It's just a series of changes over time as we have room to diagnose and solve the issues. So it's just going to be an ongoing thing. It's an early access game. It's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, as we get rid of Josh's old terrible code and replace it with new terrible code that runs just a bit better,
yeah,
you guys will see some performance increases. But
exactly.
Aside from those very specific optimizations, we're also doing some upgrades to third-party assets that we're using. So like for our vegetation, things like that, that will help. Alongside that, we're also implementing engine upgrades, not just for the code that rewrite, but also with Unity in general.
Yeah.
There will be some significant increases in performance there as we roll more of these out through the rest of the year.
Yeah, so that's something that we haven't really mentioned a lot, but we are doing, just like Javi said, we're doing an engine upgrade in the background, and we've been working on it for a while. We have a parallel branch of the game that's running in a newer engine. And that is that's going to do some nice things for RAM usage. There's a bunch of stuff that's just a little bit broken in the current one, to the point where if you have a weaker system, or even some mid-range systems, it'll just start suffering intensely. We don't want that. I think we listed 8 gig as the minimum on the store page, and right now people with 8 gig systems are probably choking pretty hard, so we're trying to solve that. The engine upgrade will help a lot with that. It's not going to be a cure-all, but it will help.
And just like that, we're now in survival horror mode. I agree.
Mm-hmm. I like the undergrowth. Riley did a really good job with the forests.
Oh, it's awesome, yeah.
Anyhow, let's stop stalling. This is a new feature, by the way. There is a detailed results screen that shows up in AAR for any mission that involves shooting. And you will see the crew and equipment lost stats, which was in the campaign missions previously, but you will now also see shots fired and lethality rating. Now, lethality doesn't actually work in this mission because nobody, the teams are not actually properly set up here. Even though it says NATO and Pact, it's basically everything was neutral. But let me do a regular mission in a second, and we'll see how it's actually supposed to work. But you'll see the title, you'll see a time, so speed running is actually possible now. It wasn't a main goal, but it is a side effect. You can compare your times pretty easily by just seeing what the end screen says. That timer stops as soon as the win message comes up, so it doesn't matter how long you dick around afterward, it's still going to keep your time. So no rush there. Let's check out... let me see if I can run long road while we talk, and then you'll see a more detailed result screen. All my missions are marked unplayed because the game has never tracked these in the past. We added the tracking system for this feature. So you could have 100 hours in GHPC and have played every mission, but you will still not see any markings on these until you play them again. So just something to be aware of.
I will be the world record holder for IFV incident.
You'll die
Go
immediately.
Go ahead, try it.
Yep. Also, an interesting change from the patch notes. Maybe I'll show the patch notes too after this. Remind me to show the patch notes.
I might not.
May? Oh, in case we put new stuff in?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Well, one thing that is in them that I can confirm is there was an issue that made the Bradley really hard to see for AI. If you were in a Bradley, you had kind of an invisibility shield from certain perspectives and things. So, if you're used to playing the Bradley and just absolutely dunking on everything, it might not happen so much after the update. You might actually be taking fire more quickly than you're used to. And yeah, so just pay attention when you're in the Bradley. Like if you run Crossroads screen with the Hinds and the big crowd of tanks and BMPs, it might be slightly more difficult than you're used to. I know I tried it. I got my ass blown up by a Hind that I didn't even see. And that is how the mission was intended to be when we released it. It just was kind of hamstrung by this glitch that we weren't even aware of at the time.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always dying on claustrophobia. And that is only Bradley's. Now, it might be because of the artillery.
Yeah, your transmission.
Immediately, yeah, being just tracked and not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
Will there be canister shot?
I'm not sure. I know
What
we've
is canister
explored.
shot?
It's basically a giant shotgun shell that you just aim the tank at a squad of infantry and wipe them out.
Sounds lovely.
They had canister shot in the stores from what I understand, but I'm told that they mainly carried Sabo and Heat only by 85. They being the US specifically. That's not to say that we won't ever make it, but I don't imagine it's going to be like an imminent thing if so.
Smoke screen, smoke launchers.
Yeah, it's in progress. We've got the effects made for it. We need to find a time to put somebody on the AI side of it, and then it would be done.
Yeah. Did you leak some of those new effects to the patrons? I can't remember.
Probably a long time ago.
Okay.
There's all kinds of leaks, so-called. Just by, like, if someone asks a question, sometimes if we're in a good mood, we'll show work in progress. Oh, come on now.
I think I found out about the game via the Mighty Jingles. I've never heard of them. Did you get on the Chieftain's radar yet? He's in our Discord server, actually.
Yep.
He has wished us good luck in development. Cool dude.
Chieftain is a cool dude. I imagine his obligations with his employer would prevent him from doing, like, focused promo of this, but he seems to be enjoying his time here.
Any French tanks? Circling back to...
Just on moral principle, I don't think so, no. Yeah, like...
Oh, man.
Yeah, because we have said several times that we're only doing 2 armies for each faction here. Alright, well, if they're gonna try to fight a war while I'm talking, that's rude.
You just gotta get good. Right?
So basically, what's happening is we have 2 armies on each side for this. Nobody acknowledged that. On this theater, we have on the NATO side the US and West Germany. On the Pact side, we have the USSR and East Germany. That is the only set of factions that we're doing for this theater. Now, after we're done with Central Germany 1985, which is probably when the game releases, we will expand to new places and new times. So in that case, we might look at adding the UK or France or, you know, Iraq, whatever, any kind of other army that fits in a scenario. We're always doing scenarios, theaters of war. So we come up with the setting first, and then we make the players in that setting. We're not going to say, okay, now we really want to add the Leopard 2A6. We don't do individual stuff. We just pick a place and a time, and we say what would have been here, and that's how we work. Alright, now let's finish this mission.
You did finish this mission.
Let's finish it in a nicer way. I saw someone ask about technicals. I will refer you to my entire previous point about we add vehicles based on a time and a place, and then you can do your own research on times and places that use technicals, and that will answer your question.
You telling me there's no technicals in the Fulda Gap region in 1985?
Unless you count the mutt with the tow launcher.
I mean,
which
maybe.
it's a fair point.
Is that technically a technical?
It's very technical adjacent. It's like a sanctioned, officially designated technical.
I saw this question a couple times. Will support for GeForce Now? Will there be support for GeForce Now on release for cloud gaming options or cloud streaming options like that? We're not looking into them right now. We're too busy focused on main development of the game.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing that, we're looking to do. We're not against it. We may look into the future, but not right now.
Yeah. It's that's just another administrative chore too, even if we decided we want to do it. We only have a few people who are able to work on things like that, and they're always busy.
I glanced at it. There's an SDK that you can put in, and it just seems to be like a wrapper for a lot of the games.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing that, man. I'm pretty lazy right now.
Plus, no, we're busy as hell. Just to be clear,
We're emphatically busy.
we operate at 105% capacity most of the time.
Yeah.
It's people will sometimes ask what's taking so long to make this or that or whatever. We're literally going as fast as we can. It's a small team.
Yeah.
Also, I think stuff like GeForce Now or whatever, wouldn't that often be the kind of stuff that a publisher offers to do, on the side? They set that up, and we don't have a publisher, so that would be on us.
It varies. If we wanted to prioritize it, we could, but realistically, we know what we're working on.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that we can spare cycles for. Several questions here. Let's see. Is it, or will it be possible to only rearm certain ammo types?
Mhm.
I think that's with the restocking system,
Yeah, so
right?
this menu where you can just click toggle restocking, at some point we'll make that a header and you'll choose which ammo type. That's just a matter of when we decide it's important to put in an update.
I prototyped that ages ago, too.
Oh, you're talking about that whole menu thing that you made?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was working with the old code though. That was in the JUT-G code base.
Okay. Oh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, no. Also, we never fully got it working before we decided to remake the game, so that's lost to prototype history.
You know what? I don't remember enough to disagree with you, so I'm just gonna go with it.
Anyway, the point is, it's going to be an option. It's on our long list of things to add eventually. So, yes, it's coming.
Would you consider adding Israeli scenarios when the game releases?
We're not confirming any specific times and places.
Yep.
We explain how it works. We say that we'll add vehicles based on the theaters that we do, and then if you ask, okay, which theaters are you doing, we'll tell you when they're announced.
Mm-hmm.
We have a list. We are not making it public yet because we're focusing on what we're doing here.
The Malta theater will be really cool, though, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where you can play as the Falcon.
Let's see. Why the M2 doesn't have iron sights? Doesn't it have a, Or I'm thinking of something.
I think they're talking about the auxiliary site.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't done yet when we released the Bradley, and then we've been focusing on other things.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do it eventually.
I mean, do you really need auxiliary sight with the Bradley? It should be pretty set with it. Tow, everything. Done. Go home. You guys should do World War I next. Oh yeah. That'll be a hoot. Every tank is just a tall skyscraper that barely moves.
Your largest armament is a Bren gun. Actually, no, they had some cannons. Whatever, British pounder guns.
Party bus, yes.
I'm gonna beat this mission. I've got past the ambush part. I think I'm okay.
Are the
All of
most
this.
oldest scenario? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say all of this just to show a stats screen at the end.
You know what? That's fine. You can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You need this win, this confidence boost
shut up.
today, being able to finish the game. Are the post-Fulda scenarios planned to be paid DLC?
Yeah.
Yes. And they won't just be kind of like thin, flimsy DLC that are like akin to microtransactions nowadays. When we talk DLC, we want there to be more akin to expansion packs.
Yeah.
Today's goal.
So I don't know. The example I keep bringing up is if anybody played Battlefield 2, if you're old and in a retirement home like me, you may remember that the base game had a bunch of content and there was no microtransaction stuff. It was just you get what you get. And then they had a couple of expansions. They had Special Forces, they had Armored Fury, and they had whatever the European one was. I can't remember what that was called.
EU Force.
Something, right. Baguette Brigade or whatever. So they had all that stuff, and each one of those expansion packs was a bunch of new content. It was like 2 new factions, a new map, a bunch of unlockable stuff, new weapons. And they were cheaper than the base game. So if you bought the whole set, it was just base game, a couple of expansions, and then you had a ton of content. That's how it should be, in our opinion. We don't really like the way stuff is sold now, so we're not doing it. We're going to do expansion packs where you get new factions, a bunch of new vehicles, new maps, like a whole new theater, akin to the content that's in the base game with the Fulda one. So that's the approach. That's what we're looking forward to.
Who made the Sabo round behind you?
That was made by Maker Steve on eBay. I think he's still selling them. He also sells 105mm, and if you have a casing, a steel or brass casing for 105mm, you can buy a Sabo replica from him that will fit directly into that casing, and you'll have a very convincing looking 105mm round. This is a 120. There's no such thing as a 120 casing to buy because they are combustible. Only the aft cap remains when they fire, so this whole thing is just 3D printed. I feel like I advertise Maker Steve's replica rounds like every other stream because people always ask about it.
Everyone's always asking about it. It's very popular.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool. Guy does good work, and we want to give him some stuff. I've dropped some links in the chat if you guys want to support us further outside of just buying the game. And if you do, oh my god, thank you. We do have a Patreon running. We also have some merch available through Redbubble.
Yep.
I don't know about shipping on all that, but it's fairly good quality if you are into that sort of thing. Patrons get a bit more access to the devs. We talk a little more about our plans or show off our active development to them, depending on the tier. And patrons get a monthly Q&A stage in our Discord. They can just ask us questions about development, how things are going.
Yeah, that's actually happening right after the stream. That happens every month, whether there's a stream or not, but on stream days it happens right after stream. I've seen some questions about what does the Patreon even get you, or why do we have a Patreon when the game's already come out? It used to be that you would get more features in the demo for the game if you were a patron, but that's not been true since the game came out on Steam. Now it's just a matter of you get early access, you get more direct Q&A stuff, and I mean they're pretty soft benefits, but if you feel like this is something you want to support extra, and that's a good way to do it. It's definitely not mandatory. We're not gonna look down on people for not signing up for the patron. It's just it's kind of going above and beyond, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've finished the mission, so whatever time that I achieved when that message came up will be locked in. And I can go around, I could even kill more stuff if there was more stuff in this mission, or I could die or whatever. But the mission result is locked in and the time is locked in. It will keep counting casualties and shots and all that stuff. And then once I'm actually ready to end the mission, I can go ahead and hit the end key or do escape end mission. And then it will show the screen. So we can see I fired 58 shots. I killed 24 crew, took out 12 vehicles. My lethality rating is 41%. Since the enemy didn't kill anybody, they have a 0% lethality, big L. Yeah.
As I read over these stats, I can only say you only got 41%. You couldn't have gotten 50%.
I look forward to your posting of your own stats, Kavi.
I don't need to shame you in front of everyone, okay? I just need to critique what numbers you have.
I want you to. You should do it.
Do you consider adding alternative control schemes like controllers or different mouse control? The system that we use for mapping controls is what we're probably going to keep using going forward. There may be some changes to how that UI works, but for the most part, all of that stuff should be mostly plug and play. We'll probably keep the same base control scheme, just because we want a bit more accessibility with regards to people who can kind of drop in and play the game. But we also want to recognize that people like to play with control sticks and other features and other equipment, so they can work out their own play styles.
Yeah. Also, if you have a joystick or a controller, you can map those controls yourself. If you go in the settings and input, and then you click adjust controls, there's this controller column. If you plug a controller in and open this menu, you will see those are now assignable. I think there might be some defaults, like one of the sticks will work or something, but you can go through and actually assign your own control mapping. And then it should be able to work. Anything that the game recognizes as an analog controller, joystick, gamepad, whatever, should work. Sometimes it works too well even. If you have a controller plugged in that you forgot about and it has some drift, you might find that if you're playing with mouse and keyboard, your gun is doing some weird things or your tank is not stopping or whatever. And 9 times out of 10 when that happens, it's because somebody has a controller and the controller is giving input and they didn't realize it. So you can also turn it off, but yeah, that's how it works.
If you like the music, Majoris is our composer for most, if not all, of the tracks. SoundCloud is in the chat. Check him out. He's cool.
Also worth pointing out that there's a soundtrack coming out soon. I think maybe around okay, maybe not. Well, the rumor is there's a soundtrack coming out. I'm launching a long road or fun drive, so I can show that for the neutral missions it will mark it as no longer unplayed alert once you go back to the menu. That's all I'm doing here. But let's drive around a little bit and get cursed at.
Would you consider adding the commander weapon as a usable weapon, like the 50 cal on the Abrams or the Dishka on the T-72?
Yeah, of course. You can do it in the M60 currently. I think Abrams, you could also do it remotely from under the turret, but we haven't added it yet. And then eventually you'll have visible crew, and they'll be able to actually grab those guns and use them. But they'll also be able to get shot while they're doing it, so it's a trade-off. But yeah, that's coming.
Are the sounds on the Bradley final? Nothing is final. Everything's in early access and work in progress. But for the most part, if we're content with keeping them for now, that's the way they're going to be.
Yeah. I don't think in general we answer specific questions about whether something's final. One, because we don't know. It depends how much time we have to revise stuff. But two, that question carries an implication of, I don't like it. Are you going to change it? And sometimes we're fine with how things are. So we're not going to go through and say yes or no to each one and try to defend it. It just is what it is. You'll find out. Alright, let's go back to menu.
How many vehicles and explosions can be on the screen at any time before Unity stops handling it? AKA, how big and tense can you make a scenario? Scenarios have become larger, and we've pushed more of the bounds. Our map maker has pushed more of the bounds on those things as development has continued over the last year. Right now, that is why we're kind of going back and optimizing some things, because we're hitting some of the memory limits on some machines for people. And we don't want that. We want this to be accessible for folks and not just have random Unity crashes. So, depends on your system right now, but we want to keep squeezing out more units and more content for our scenarios. And that's why we're doing optimizations.
Yeah. That's the real answer, is there is no exact answer. It's just whatever your computer can handle, and we attempt to improve the situation as we go.
Welcome to early access game development.
Yep. Enjoy your stay, because it's going to take a minute.
I saw part of a question regarding multiplayer, and someone responded when it's ready. And I honestly don't even need to see the rest of the question. That is the answer. When it's ready.
Yep.
Can't wait to make a 120 tank scenario. That'd be neat.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Let us know how it goes. Theoretically,
I look forward to the modders putting those maps together.
You know, theoretically, someone could make a scenario now, but I've never seen anyone attempt it.
Yeah. Will East and West German crews have different voices?
Nope.
Oh?
They'll have different command flows, but the voices are the same.
Yeah.
We don't have the budget to go find specifically East and West sounding actors and have a whole separate set of voice lines recorded. It's hard enough to get voice lines recorded for one set, so it's gonna be like standard High German and slightly different command flows, and that's just how it is.
Someone in the comments. Also, obviously, please, no one pull a War Thunder. I don't know what you're talking about, but for the low price of $7.99, we can give you a pack of Kavi coins, and you can use those in game for, you know, the coolest sorts of things. Camouflage, God mode, shooting tank rounds, but they're not tank rounds, they're just mini tanks that shoot more rounds at people. No, we're not gonna.
You gotta get what the people actually want. A little AK that you can glue on the side of your tank, and then decals that you can stitch together to make a dick.
Oh,
That's what people will actually pay for.
Living the dream. Oh, I meant sending in classified info. No, don't send us any of that shit.
Yeah, that's not allowed.
We will not take it.
We will not. People have asked, we have said no. Alright.
Anime sticker reel. Don't forget the body pillows. See? This is what brings out the rough stuff. You start talking about War Thunder, people just want the sick stuff. I'll donate 100 Kavi dollars if you give me a golden AK-47. Oof. Like, is the Kavi dollar stronger than the Kavi coin right now? You tell me, Josh.
Isn't the Kavi coin like price fixed to the Kavi dollar?
Oh, probably. We need map drawing, which definitely won't be used to draw inappropriate stuff. Yeah, I mean, when we start testing that feature as it's being developed, it'll automatically be used to draw inappropriate stuff.
I will draw a dick on the map if Kavi won't. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Josh and I have played Payday 2. We've ran bank heists planning before.
Mm-hmm.
That's immediately all that went down.
Yeah. The dentist is like, pre-planning. And we're like, what's that? What's that? Draw off goofy pictures? Right away, sir.
Alright guys, enter this way. Why is that dick just elongated across the whole screen?
Alright, I'm gonna show this because it's fucking cool and nobody ever notices. If you have the T-72 and you queue up a new kind of ammo, the carousel will turn around to get to it. I selected HE. Here it goes. It's gonna scoop an HE round. And then it does the actual ejection and reload. And now I say, okay, I want to go back to Savo. It goes around. I have a longer rotation sound because it's still rotating, and then it loads. Yeah, that's right. It's fully simulated. I did that in, I don't, what was it, 2021, maybe even 2020. Nobody ever fucking notices, which is fine, I guess. You know, no one's looking at the AAR while they're fighting, but it's actually simulated, and it matters where the rounds are. I'm
gonna put that right up on the refrigerator, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
I wasted 2 shots. Cool. I wasted 2 shots, and I still got over 100% lethality, so I consider that a success.
Wow. You can go over 100% in these.
Yeah.
Interesting. Could you get infinite percent?
You can if you fire no shots and take everything out with casts and artillery.
Challenge to the community. Show me that.
But it's not going to say infinity. It's going to say not applicable, NA. But it's still bragging rights. If you win a mission and your lethality is NA, that's pretty dope.
How does lethality work then? Is that calculated?
It's just kills per shots fired.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Someone asked if we're on 1 at the roadmap. No, the roadmap is, we've completed 1. We've essentially completed 2 fire support. We just want to add some better map controls for it. Infantry is heavily in progress, nearly done, but it's not released yet. And then, in fact, you know what? Let's show the roadmap. Because basically, most of the things on the roadmap are partially done, but not released. 1 and 2 are done. But 2 needs a little bit of UI refinement for calling stuff in. So it's not strictly done. I would say 2 would be done if we want to half-ass it, but we want to do a couple more things. And then after that, it's just like, yeah, partial in progress stuff. Let me pull that up.
Nearly done, you say. Eyes. Oh, Walrus.
Yeah, don't read too much into that. That's there's a lot of stuff that's been nearly done for a while, but it needs more work. And the more work will only happen when we have time for it, so it's not going to be rushed. Let's see. Roadmap.
Is ammo modeled in the breach? Like, if you fired down the breach of a gun, would that hit a round that's already loaded in?
I don't think so. I don't think it is. Okay. I've thought about putting it in there, but it's one of those low priority kind of things.
Yeah, I thought so.
Let's increase the zoom here. Okay. We've got... Alright, so the roadmap. Number 1 is done. That's the basic random mission campaign. 2 is done-ish. We want to do some better map controls so you can see what you have available and how much time is left, how many calls, that kind of thing. Infantry. We have been testing infantry, but they're not done yet, so this is unreleased. So we're essentially on 2 on the roadmap. Done or not quite done, depending how you look at it. 3 is in progress, 4 is in progress, 5's in progress, 6 is in progress, 7's prototyped, 8 is planned, and 9 is in progress. So we're pretty heavily in progress on everything. It's just if you go by actual finished, it's 1 and about 2. We'll probably start knocking off additional items a little quicker next year, I imagine. We'll see how it goes.
They might all just fall off at roughly the same time, but given we're a smaller team, we have to switch hats a lot, so we just have to go between different feature sets pretty frequently.
Yeah.
I changed this, and it broke this other thing. Okay, let's walk that back. Let's figure out how to optimize this. I just got it working, etc. Let's work with our contractors based on their part-time schedules to make sure, okay, how can we get a feature in when we plan on needing it? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Just to mention it for anyone who doesn't already know, the team is 5 full-time people and then a handful of contractors to help out as well. So it's not a huge effort. It's I mean, it is a huge effort, but it's not a huge team.
Yeah.
I don't like the rain. I'm gonna restart this.
Would you consider... I love the rain. You don't like the rain?
Yeah. I just want a nice clear day.
Fine. Would you consider adding mines or mine-clearing vehicles in the future?
We've considered a lot of things. I'm not sure about that one. We'll see what happens.
Snow anytime soon. I would like that. That would be neat. But, nah. The weather system that we have now is groovy, and we need to start focusing on some other stuff. Kavi is a Chad. No, you're a Chad.
FSR or DLSS?
Go ahead.
The FSR and DLSS fall into the same administrative category as like putting stuff on cloud platforms. It's some kind of proprietary bullshit that we have to look into, and we don't really have time or interest in doing it. I'm not going to say we would never do it, but it's not going to be in our concerns right now.
If you're interested in helping out development, and you have some skills you want to share, go ahead and drop us a line at info@gunnerheatpc.com. Name, resume, portfolio, any of that jazz.
That email is at the footer of the website, by the way, if you forget it.
Yeah, and I've dropped a link to the website here and there, but I'll drop it again.
Also, we should note that we're looking for people who have professional experience.
I mean, you hired me, so...
You have professional experience.
I don't know about...
No, you were an enterprise coder for years. Don't try to downplay
it. Maybe. A couple months ago.
Anyway, and as much as we love people being enthusiastic, don't apply if you just have a couple of hobby things and that's it. Like, we want people who've actually made games.
Strong portfolios are under heavier consideration. Arctic Fox, you bring up a very valid point. Like, even if you don't have like a skill set or anything like that, if you just want to help test, if you pick up the game and you drop us like, hey, I found a bug, that's a big help overall. Like, even some of our patrons get like early access to the patch builds.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that when I was talking about Patreon benefits. If you are a high tier patron, you do get early test builds. There are people playing this build of the game right now. So there are some benefits still. Also, the one below that sees a live feed of all the stuff that we've added to the Git repository. So you get some clues about what's going into the next update.
Yeah. Idea being is we welcome the help. We obviously are, since we're a small team, we can't catch everything, and that kind of stuff just makes a better experience for the players going forward.
Yeah.
Ironically, QA also requires skill. QAs are like godsends. I have worked in several shops before where they've actually gotten rid of their QA departments.
That's a mistake.
Is a big mistake, and it ended up being worse for the product overall.
That's somebody looking at a quarterly profit boost, huh?
Yeah. Some KPR or whatever bullshit they
Yeah.
use.
Bonus seeking is it's a curse.
Yeah. Was it said how multi-crew is going to work?
It was not.
There we go. Good question. Multi-crew is still being worked on as part of multiplayer, but it has been a long-term goal of ours to get that set up.
Yeah.
Possibly not all roles will be something you can take care of. It might be the most boring thing in the world to play as the loader, but rest assured...
Well, you might not even be able to play as the loader.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
But rest assured, there will be multi-crew for multiplayer. Oh, it's coming up on an hour here.
It is. Oh,
Time
shit.
flies when you're having fun. Well, as Josh slowly dies in this mission, after this, we are going to go and do our patron Q&A on a patron stage over in our Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord or our Patreon, head to gunnerheatpc.com and you'll find all of the links available there. Did you die yet? No. Okay. Keep going.
No, I didn't.
Alright.
Not
You
quite.
got this. Heavy action, I'm glad I found this project. Well, thanks for finding it. Hopefully you stick around and enjoy what we're able to make for you. Will GHPC finally be the game where barrels are physical objects and not magic-y phase through time and space?
No.
They will be magic-y phase through time and space.
There's a reason that games don't do physical barrels, and when they do physical barrels, there are glitch compilations where people fly tanks through the air by hitting stuff. That's not like, it's not like all the other devs are incompetent and we can just put barrels in and make them perfect. You either choose to have physics barrels that are prone to glitches, or you take them out. We're taking them out.
You'll be fighting off too many enemies to start looking at how your barrel's interacting with a building or a tree. Deep Rock has a similar problem. You get flung into the top hangar when you jump onto the barrels in a space rig. I've heard good things about Deep Rock Galactic.
My gosh, are they dead yet? Who is left? Yeah, it's 1 o'clock now, so I'll give it a couple minutes because I started after. But basically, when this mission's over, the stream's over. So any last minute questions? Yeah. Someone said the VFX guy is insanely talented. Yes. No Op is legitimately world class. He's done a very good job. And every time we say, hey, this isn't quite right or whatever, we want this revision, or the performance is weird, he goes back and he redoes all this stuff, and it's just awesome every time. There were issues
No.
before with, like, if you look through fire like this, it would start slowing the game down. And we identified a way to fix it, and he just redid all the effects in the new way, and they're still perfect. It works every time.
A couple of easy questions. Lakes and rivers will appear eventually. Infantry gore will be a thing. It kind of already is. Look at a truck when it's on fire.
Oh yeah, true.
The VFX guy is not kept in a basement, though if he wants to work in one, that's fine. And he is free to do what he pleases.
Yeah. Trust us.
Jesus. Will we be able to turn off engines? No, because you'll want to go and finish the mission and not just sit there. What do you feed him? I just told you. Never mind.
If he does a good job, he gets wet food.
Oh my god.
Oh no, sorry, that's Blake's cats.
Also true.
Alright, I don't know where the last guy is. I'm just gonna start charging.
There we go.
Let's get this show on the road. I'll either win the mission or die trying.
You know what my money's on. Prove me wrong, Josh. You prove me wrong.
Ooh. They're gonna smack me with an artillery shell right as I'm trying. Who is left?
There will not be an ability to repair. It takes too long.
Yeah, even if fixing a track is like 20 or 30 minutes in real life. And we don't want you sitting in a field for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you insist, no, I would like that. I don't want to code it so that you can do that, so it's not going to be a thing.
Have you cleared the objective? I've sometimes missed enemies there.
Well, this is a defense mission, so they're supposed to come to me. I imagine somebody got hung up somewhere. You know what? Let's cheat.
He had to cheat. You hate to see it.
But love to watch it leave. Is it you? Is it you? Nope. Is it you? That's the same guy? No, they're both different.
Sure it's not them?
I'm not sure. Oh, it's him.
Yep. The one coward sitting back there.
I think he might have got tracked. So he's not able to get to a place where he can see me or I can see him. Alright, we'll go kill him and then the stream's over.
Will there be a mission prompt in real time that tells you, or at least approximates, how many enemies are left and what else there is to do for the mission to be complete? We'd like to do more with our objective system that gives you a better idea of that, and we'd like our AI to improve to the point where you won't have to be in the situation that Josh is in right now.
Yeah, we're thinking there will
Behind
be...
this guy.
We're working on some scouting mechanics and then ways to communicate that information without showing like a live cheat view. Here's where they all are on the map, you know. That's all being worked on. It's not going to be, you know, hunt down the last guy. This is kind of a relic of lessons that we learned earlier in the mission design, but the missions are still in the game. I saw somebody ask if we'll be able to drive from first person at some point. It's very likely, especially since we're doing multi-crew. The driver will need a view, especially when they're buttoned up. You won't be able to use third person when the hatches are closed. So there will be a trade-off, and that will apply to all, not just multiplayer, but single player. If you are driving like this, fully buttoned up, you won't be able to have this view. It's very likely that you'll be limited to a cupola and periscope perspective. So just to give an idea, like, this is the commander's main sight on this tank. and then if I pulled back from it, I would have like an interior ring view of the cupola with all the viewfinders around, and I would see a limited view of the outside world. And if I want to get a better view, I have to pop my guy out of the hatch, and then I can see around. That change has not happened yet, of course. For now, you can just play it War Thunder style if you want, but keep in mind we are going to be slightly more sim with it once we rework our crew roll system and our cameras for that. Oh, come on. Are you serious? I found the one T-72 that doesn't care about Sabo.
Have you tried getting good?
I've considered it.
Okay. People in chat, your first shot was heat, LOL.
Yes, it's what was loaded. You dumped the shot that's loaded.
It's true. You got it.
I mean, what
Look
was
at
I
you.
what was I supposed to do in that situation? Oh, I have
Good
heat loaded.
job.
Instead, I will die.
Wow, he did it, everybody. Claps in the chat.
God. Okay. Wow, look, there's the results screen. It took
Thank
me
you, everyone.
14 fucking minutes to finally find the last guy and win.
Only a 33% lethality? Come on.
Yeah, that'll go way down once there's infantry and stuff too. In real battles, it's like thousands of rounds fired for
Yeah.
a few casualties. So we'll probably start seeing some more. Oh my god, they're actually posting claps. We'll probably start seeing more stuff like that eventually. I want to see that heat round.
And you had to cheat to find the last guy.
Mm.
Yep.
You know what? You can try to devalue my victory if you want, but I still
no.
won.
Oh, I'm not doing it. Someone closer to you has done it. I'm just repeating what they said.
It's really your own people, isn't it? That's what they say. All right. Well, that's all we have time for today. Let's wrap up the stream and get that Patreon Q&A going. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Almost everybody. And then we will see you guys in about 2 months next time we stream. Once again, this update is coming out on the 5th. There's a changelog, which you'll see when the game updates on Steam. We're still working out a couple last minute quirks based on the testing. And yeah. See you around.
Two more things.
Two more
Can I
things.
say Two more things.
What things?
One, it was my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday,
Two.
Kavi.
Thanks. Two, it has been roughly 1 year since we have gone into early access
Yes.
with Gunner Heat PC. And that is quite the milestone for us. And we couldn't have done it without support from you guys and from people playing on Steam. So thank you.
Yep. I think we'll do a little dev blog update, a 1 year retrospective, talk about what's going on and what we've learned, all that stuff. So keep an eye out for that soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you. See you around. Bye.